There's an old saying that goes, Ars Gratia Artis, and it's Latin for art for art's sake. And I don't know which one came first, but there's also a French saying that has the same meaning, and it's l'art pour l'art. And apparently my Latin's still better than my French. So it's the idea that art is valuable just for being something creative, something different from reality, something unto itself that's born from human consciousness. Basically, that artistic pursuits that you enjoy are worthwhile. And they can be a source of inspiration and motivation for people, which I really agree with. I have seen that so much in my own life. I've seen it work for other people. And this used to be a really popular, commonly understood idea in the arts. Like MGM Film Studios used Ars Gratia Artis around their lion logo to reflect that sentiment. So this philosophical idea is very in line with my own opinions about creativity. And I think that understanding this concept can provide some more context to what has happened to media over time, what's going on with modern media, and also bring into clarity some of the meaning that is lacking because people don't understand how to even generate it themselves. Because any form of art that people consume, I mean, today film is probably the most common, the most popular, and it can be a tool for self-reflection, self-improvement, and motivation to take action. From the simplest art to the most complex, like whether it's stupid art, ugly art, amazing art, everyone has their own opinions. Like, it's all subjective, and it reflects more about the person engaging with the art and the nature of art in general than it does about the art thing itself. And just to preemptively address some of the criticisms that happen around this philosophy, like, there is tons of art that I don't like. There is tons of art I hate, would never buy, would never spend a lot of time looking at. There is tons of art that I find just stupid and shallow and superficial that I don't get anything out of. And I don't think it qualifies as ars gratia artis, art for art's sake, when you're just making trash to get money from rich elitists. Like, that is not the concept. It's a common criticism with this whole idea of like everything has value. You make something and people should pay millions for it. I think that's taking it to an extreme and kind of misrepresenting or misunderstanding the positive side of this philosophy. Like, when it comes to buying art, I think that is an entirely different conversation with a lot of different things to consider. This is really just about the value for people, the personal value of art. So even if I don't like a certain form of art or a certain art piece, I still think people should be able to do what they want to do. And if someone likes it, you do you. Because shallow art is still art. If you like something, don't let people ruin it for you. And looking at the relationship between people and art, like, human behavior is reflected in and then guided by art. It's like a person in front of a mirror learning how their face and body moves. Seeing yourself from the outside, relating to something, looking at people in the form of archetypal characters and the patterns that emerge, and just running hypothetical situations. Like, all those things in abstraction have real value. And then on top of that, when you add story into the mix, you get messaging where you can teach complex emotional and intellectual lessons. You can say something about the world and then explain why it's an important idea to understand. And I actually think meaning emerges better sometimes from the concept of art for art's sake, because it's not made with predetermined agendas. Its purpose isn't to perpetuate a niche specific message. Its purpose is to be art. And that allows people to take whatever meaning they see. And yes, this creates a diffusion of meaning, so not everyone is going to agree, not everyone is going to get the same message and be on the same page. But there's even value in that, because you can see universal and shared meaning emerge naturally. It becomes a sort of mass Rorschach test where the questions emerge of, what do you see? What does this mean to you? What are you getting from this thing? Because it's open to interpretation. It becomes an interpretive device that gives people enough freedom to see what they see and then also relate to others who see similar things. Like, the point is not objectivity or honing in on one specific message. The point is to see what you think and feel. In modern media, there's a lot of outrage about the message because so many big budget studios are just pushing the exact same inconsistent, hypocritical, I'd argue shallow messaging in pretty much all of their products. But it's not having a message that is the problem. Storytelling naturally lends itself to moral messaging and teaching lessons, meaning making by the audience. The audience sees what they want to see. And if you want to have broad mass appeal, you need to have messaging that's consistent with the morality of your audience. That's why universal themes, like going down to common denominators, draws in the most people. Again, from the simplest to most complex forms of art, if you are dealing with something that everyone understands and that everyone has a similar opinion on, everyone is gonna see that. But there's always room for other interpretations because not everyone is gonna see something the same way. And when you infuse Ars Gratia Artis with a little bit of storytelling, I think that is one of the best combinations for producing meaningful work. A bit of both worlds, creative storytelling to find common ground and shared values without hitting you over the head with a niche message that isn't going to matter in 50 years or 50 days. And I find it amazing going back and watching older media, which seem to have a better handle on this balance of incorporating story and meaning, but also just enjoyment. This is supposed to be fun. It is supposed to be entertaining in a way that doesn't put pressure on the audience. And I think that balance, that combination, is what's been missing from modern media for so long and why people keep complaining about it. Appreciation of any form of art doesn't always make sense. So when you put pressure on audiences to like something, to enjoy something, to relate to something, and especially to believe in a certain message that comes along with the art, you are fighting an uphill battle. If you're making anything with the point of getting across a specific message, you're not going to be happy with people taking any meaning from your work other than exactly what you intended, which constricts the art so it purposefully doesn't allow for any unique interpretation. And it limits creativity in pretty much every way. So this approach basically becomes the antithesis to Ars Gratia Artis. It's not art for art's sake. It's art for a purpose, and you better agree with it. Which arguably also makes it the antithesis to enjoyment. So when you're watching a film, when you're engaging with any sort of media, if you're looking at a stupid piece of art, try exploring this idea. Appreciating art for art's sake, that it's still worthwhile. You could even make the argument about all of the modern messaging movies and all the things that people have been complaining about from every side of every issue. All this art that is antithetical to the concept of art for art's sake, you could still say that it's worthwhile. It's all just art. You don't have to agree with it. But spend some time with this idea. See what comes up mentally and emotionally when you just let yourself engage with a creative media. When you just let yourself enjoy something and appreciate it for what it is. Overall, it's a powerful concept that's been cast aside in a lot of cases by companies making creative products. And over the last few years, it's been very encouraging to see how many people are not impressed by how things have been, how skewed things have been, how unbalanced this idea of making something for a specific purpose versus making something that people enjoy. I've been seeing a slow resurgence of this concept in many art forms, and it feels like the entire creative sphere is just bringing itself back into balance. And as long as everyone keeps in mind the issues with overcorrections and going to extreme and opposite directions, I'm very excited to see what creativity comes out in the next couple of years, even if I end up hating 90% of it. Bye.